Alright, so welcome to livingeasytoday.com. Today we're going to take a look at how to automate processing files that you've downloaded, TV episodes namely, processing them and automatically adding them to iTunes, because I really like the Apple TV. It's quiet. I used to have the Xbox 360 as a media center, but the fans are just too loud to really enjoy it. So to do this, you're going to need to have HandbrakeCLI installed, as well as Identify2, and you also need Hazel. So to start out, we want to, your BitTorrent client, you need to have it set to move completed downloads to a new directory, usually whatever completed downloads you can call it. And then you have a shell script, which will be on the website with comments, because this isn't commented, and I'll just go through it quickly. So we have go to the scripts folder, so users Andrew scripts, and we check if there's a text file, and if the text file is there, it means that there's already a copy of this working, so we don't want it to continue, like, to process the same file multiple times. This is a problem I had in the beginning. And if the text file is not there, then we create the text file and we go to our completed downloads folder, and for every item in there that has a file extension AVI, MKV, or WMV, we use HandbrakeCLI and we convert it to an M4V using the high profile profile. And once it's done converting, we move it from where we converted it to a folder called Add to Library, which is what Hazel watches. And then once we're done, we want to remove that original file, so we do that. And then once we're done all that, we remove the text file so that the next time this starts up, it knows that there's not another copy working. And so to automate this is just in a cron tab, which isn't as hard. It sounds kind of scary, but it's not hard to do. I'll give you the line that you need on the website. I can't seem to resize this. But basically this first line runs every 20 minutes, and it runs that shell script I showed you and throws away the output. And so that's all there is to it. So once that's all done, we would now have files in our Add to Library folder, which is where Hazel takes over. So some of the files, namely from EasyRSS, like CSI Miami or Mr. Sunshine, they aren't named in a way that TVDB will match. CSI Miami needs to have like a double star in order for it to match. So basically we rename any problem file so it can easily be matched. So we match the starting of the file name csi.miami. And we use this little script here, which there will be an example on the website, to rename it to something that will allow the file to be matched in Identify2. And once problem files are renamed, we process them with Identify. And so we have a couple matching conditions here. File extension needs to be M4V, and color label can't be red or green. Now I use color labels so the different steps in Hazel can be differentiated. So basically only green labeled files will get moved and added to iTunes. And so when we process it with Identify, you can see here that we opened Identify. Whoops. We also set the color label to red, which is important. Now since I use a NOS, Identify2 won't remove the ID2 temp files, so I do that manually. If you don't have, if your files are local in your home folder, don't worry about this part. So the next step is to change the color label, and basically we check that it's not been modified in the last 15 minutes, because if you don't do that, then as soon as Identify creates this new file, it's going to change the color label to green, and then it'll be processed, and you'll end up with a video that's not going to work. We make sure the extension is M4V and that the color label is not green. And so if it's not green, then we change it to green. And so now we get to the good part, which is move and import. So basically, this is Outcasts. We check that the full name starts with Outcast space dash, which is what every correctly tagged file name is going to start with. If it's let's say The Apprentice, it would be The Apprentice space dash, and that ensures that only files that have been correctly tagged will be moved. So we check that the extension is M4V and it's got a green color label and it's not been modified in the last 15 minutes. And the actions we perform are we move it to my TV folder, Outcasts folder, and then we set the color label to nothing and import it to iTunes. It's important that you move the file before you add it to iTunes, otherwise you're going to run into problems. And that's pretty much it. You'll need a separate move import rule for each of the different shows that you have, because you need to match each individual show. It's kind of a hassle to set up, but the amount of time savings that you get is well worth it. So I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave a comment.